Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Friday at 5. I believe we're at episode number 19. This week's episode is a topic that I've covered a little bit on this past week in a blog that I posted called Happy Wife, Happy Life. All right, this is a big thing right now. It's marketed everywhere. There's pillow covers and coffee mugs and you see Mrs. Right and Mrs. Always Right. There's all of these things that reinforce this phrase, happy wife, happy life. And, some people have joked, well, you don't have a wife, so you don't know. But I am a person. I am a person in a relationship. And I know many people. So first of all, I call this bullshit. I think this propaganda is complete and utter bullshit, right? That's not how it goes. Not in my world. Why? If I want to be, the golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated, right? If I don't want somebody dominating, manipulating, and controlling me, why is it okay for me to do this to somebody else? Let alone not just somebody else, but somebody who I'm supposed to love and care about. Why is that behavior acceptable? And not only acceptable, encouraged, right? This happy wife, happy life thing, it doesn't work. The reason I know it doesn't work is I tried it. I tried it in multiple relationships where I was so unhappy. I tried to manipulate my partner and their behavior to get my way because getting my way made me happy, right? No, maybe short-lived, but let's say I didn't want my boyfriend to go out, right? And I got tired of him, because I did this once, got tired of him hanging out with his friends, and I threw a fit, and I'm like, you need to come home and we need to spend time together. So guess what happened? He stopped hanging out with his friends. He ended up not having any friends the longer we were together because he lost those connections. So I was the only person in his life other than the few friends that we had that were couples, right? And it didn't make us any happier. It actually made me more miserable in the long run because now, my reason for wanting him to stop hanging out was when we were going to almost fell off my stool. When we were going to spend time together, I had this image of what that time was going to be like. But the reality was, it wasn't that. He came home and he spent time playing video games or whatever he did, or maybe we did go out, maybe we did something and we spent time together. But it never gave me the feeling that I thought it would. It never gave me the feeling that I was trying to create. And so I was still unhappy. It's like there was satisfaction that I got my own way, but in the long run, I wasn't any happier. And the more miserable I got, then the more I took it out on him because, he was, at the time, I blamed him for my problems, right? If he just did this, if he just did that. So I call BS on this whole thing. We are taught that from a young age, women are princesses. Men need to cater to women. Give them their own way. Just say yes, dear. All of these things, right? Women are more important than men if we're looking at a traditional partnership. And it totally invalidates the other human being. And a relationship is about the two people in it. And I've said it before that, never make the relationship more important than the two people in it. And never make the relationship most important for one person in it. Because the happiness comes when both people are happy. When both parties actually have their needs met. If somebody is constantly sacrificing themselves and what they desire to make you happy, you're going to sense that it's not genuine. You're going to sense that it's not real, right? They're doing it. They're going through with it. But there's no real fulfillment in it because maybe they're resenting you, over time. There's feelings that come up because, again, we're dealing with two different people. Now, I talk about man and woman because those are the relationships I've known, but I do know this can happen in same-sex relationships as well. I mean, especially if you have, two women together, both are equally as important. And, both, well, this goes for any relationship, both parties just have to have the space and the freedom to be who they are. And a lot of times, people will get into relationships and the assumption is, well, after we get married, this will change. After we get married, it'll be better. And so there's always some future that we're trying to live into, that we're waiting for to reach this happiness, to reach what we think the relationship should be, right? There's always, at least when I was doing this, there was always some future date that I was going to get to, and then I would be happy with my partner, and then I would be happy in the relationship. And my thought was, if I just controlled and managed and manipulated all of these pieces of his behavior, and, then by a certain date, once all of it was handled, then we would be happy. What it actually created, besides, as I already mentioned, me being unhappy, is a lot of extra stress for me, because then not only was I trying to live my own life and do my own things, I'm trying to control another person. I'm trying to make sure they're doing the things I want them to do. I have to check in to make sure that he's going to come home because I wanted him to come home. I have to make sure that he made the bed because I need the bed made every morning. And I have to make sure that, all of these things are done so that I am happy. And what it's creating is more stress on me to make sure it's done. So is it making me happier? No. And this is why I call BS on that. Now, I have met some women who are like, well, that's just the way it has to be. Bullshit. Get your own shit together. Do your own thing. And I'm sorry if this offends, I'm actually not sorry if this offends people. This is my strong belief. Like if you are with somebody who is social and outgoing, you were attracted to them when they were like that, when you started dating. And there's a reason you were attracted to that. Why are you trying to change that? Why are you trying to make them into somebody else? If you didn't like the person they were, why are you with them, right? So there's so many extra layers that go into this, because it's not just happy wife, happy life. That's not true, because a lot of the people who are saying that are anything but happy, right? They're just like, well, yeah, that's how it should be. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. So yeah, here I am, I got to cater to her. No, there are very few people who this might be working for, right? If they see their partner happy, then they're happy because they're living for their partner. And if that's you, God bless you. I can't live for somebody else. I actually need to live for me. I believe that we were all put on this earth with different interests, different abilities for a reason. And some people complement each other more than others. And we should honor that, not shove it down and pretend it doesn't exist and then live into somebody else's desire of what they want life to be like and what they want the world to be like. So, if we're honoring ourselves, that's when both parties are happy. That's when, relationships work. That's when I've seen them work, is when both people are satisfied, not just one. I've never seen it work where it's so lopsided. I mean, you look at, let's say you look at one of those push carts, right? They've got two wheels on the back and you push them down the street and, they carry groceries, laundry, whatever. They've got two wheels, right? It has to be balanced for it to move. Each wheel has to, work and spin. If you are only catering to one wheel and it's, the other one is just left to, not be paid attention to, it's going to get wobbly, it's going to fall off, it's going to break, right? Both have to be maintained in order for it to work. And it's the same for our relationships. Both people need to be honored and respected for it to work. In my opinion, you can't just, bulldoze over somebody because your way is right. According to who? You. But, you might be the only one who thinks that. And so, it's interesting how widespread this belief is, how much it's perpetuated in our society as being okay. And, people buy into it and then they think that that's how it should be. But deep down in our hearts, we know, or maybe we don't know, but maybe we suspect, maybe we just have a feeling that there's more, that this can't be it, right? But we're afraid to say anything because this is what society tells us it should be like, right? This is how it should be. Look, it's everywhere. Happy wife, happy life. Look, everybody's saying that, everybody's buying into it, so this is how it's supposed to be. And so there must be something wrong with us if we can't make it work. So we just have to keep trying more and more and more to make our partner happy, to fulfill this happy wife, happy life theory, when in reality it's just bullshit and it's not true. It's just what we're taught to accept as true by whoever decided that this is how it has to be. And so, sorry for a little rant. I got off on it. I didn't even know how I got on it this week, but it's, this concept of, just making one person way more valuable, way more precious in what their needs, wants, and desires are than somebody else. And it's not healthy. It's not sustainable for either party. It's exhausting, it's stressful, it's frustrating when things don't go your way, right? So let's let that go. Let's not buy into that and actually create things, partnerships, relationships that work for people. And by work, I mean where both people are happy, not where you have to work to make one person happy and to give up everything about yourself, right? I mean where they work because it's easy, because you're honoring somebody else, because you have your own life, because you are your own person, they are their own person, and you complement each other and you enjoy each other. I mean, think about your friends, right? Most people don't hang out with people they don't like. Most people have friends that they enjoy doing things with, or they enjoy spending time with, and same interests and likes and all of these things, right? Why shouldn't it be that way with your partner? Why shouldn't it be that way in your relationship where you have interests and you like, and when your friends have a different interest, you don't make them wrong for going to pursue it. Maybe they have other friends that they do that with because they know you don't like it. Why can't we have the same thing in our relationships? The person is who they are when we met them, and that's who they continue to be. And so, why fight to change that? Why struggle to make that different, right? If we don't like it, why are we there? So, I know these aren't easy questions, especially when you're in the thick of it, right? It seems like it's impossible to make any changes and to do anything different, but it really is just a choice. And that's it. And those are some of the hardest things that we can do because it requires emotional courage. And most of us don't have that. One of my friends once said, if everybody in the world had emotional courage, then there would be no romantic movies or drama movies in Hollywood because we wouldn't need it, right? Everything would just work out happily ever after because people have the courage to say what they want, to not manipulate others. If they don't get it from somebody, they go find it from somebody who can, right? So I mean, there's more to it. I'm touching on the high level. I'm not saying if you want to have sex and your partner's like, no, go sleep with somebody else. I mean, maybe if it works for you in your relationship, but there's different ways of doing things. But on the superficial top level of it, honoring who we are and finding what we like. Like if we want to go to the movies and we have a friend that doesn't like the movies, then we ask somebody else. It's that simple. And it can be that simple in our relationships. It doesn't have to be these fights and these battles and all this drama that we create it to be. And this happy wife, happy life perpetuates that drama and it perpetuates that struggle And it perpetuates the separation that we experience from ourselves and from the happiness that we actually are trying to create. So I'm going to leave you with that this Friday at 5. I actually have, it's going to be a free workbook coming out called Creating Your Own Happily Ever After. And it's 3-step process for transforming any and all relationships, right? So if this is something, that you would be interested in, if this is something that you're struggling with, you can go ahead and sign up to my website. I'll be sending out an email once that's ready. It should be within the next 2 weeks, I believe. I should have that up and loaded. But, that happiness that we really want is available. We've just been taught to go about it the wrong way. We've been taught that it lies outside of us. We've been taught that it lies with other people in somebody else's hands, and that is entirely not true. And the reason I know it's not true is because I tried it, I did it, and I learned that it's within me, right? And that's what all of the, if you've done any self-help, and even if you haven't, you can do self-help. You can start studying, you can start reading. I've spent the last 10, 15 plus years doing exactly that. It's available, you can find it, so you can validate what I'm saying if you feel the need to do that. But really, it is inside of us. There's nobody else, no other situation, no other circumstance that's going to give us that sustainable happiness, that long-term happiness that we actually are trying to create. So I leave you with that this weekend, something to ponder. And like I said, if you'd like to get your hands on that workbook for free, when it comes out, you can go ahead and head to my website and sign up, and you'll get notified when that comes out. But I wish you all a happy weekend, and I will chat with you next week.